Come on in, guys. Welcome to Idled Out, where we talk all things Survivor. My name is Luke, and today we're counting down the funniest moments from a classic Survivor challenge, Touchy Subjects. This is a big-time fan-favorite challenge in which the castaways fill out a questionnaire about their tribe in private, then publicly answer whose name they believed was written down most often. Get the answer right, and you can chop another castaway's rope. 3 chops, and you're out. The person who knows their tribe best and who avoids getting chopped wins. Appearing first in Survivor Amazon and most recently in Survivor One World, every time this challenge pops up, it's a blast. Feelings are hurt, egos are bruised, painful truths are learned. A good time is had by all. This challenge is thematically similar to the Fallen Comrades challenge, where the players answer questions about previously eliminated players, then chop each other, the challenge the San Juan del Sur cast famously broke. But in the interest of brevity, we'll cover that another time. All that said, let's dig into the 5 funniest moments in Touchy Subjects history. At number 5 is perhaps the most famous Q&A in this Q&A challenge of all time. A very mean question from Survivor All-Stars. All-Stars saw the second iteration of this challenge, and it's where Touchy Subjects really hits its stride. It dials in the format perfectly, moving it from an immunity challenge to a reward challenge, adding in an elimination element and chopping other players' ropes, and making fun masks of the remaining players that get destroyed when they're eliminated from the challenge. They also nailed the format of asking a nice question first, followed by one of the meanest questions. This time, the first question is, who would you trust with your life? That would be a smirking Boston Rob, who can't believe all these people whose throats he plans to slit in the coming days find him trustworthy. The second question is perfect for bruising the massive egos on All-Stars. Who doesn't deserve to be an all-star? Gosh, how do I pick? All? Since there's no all of the above option, everyone decides to split the difference and make it a tie between Sheehan and Alicia, the latter of whom takes this very, very personally. The knife is also twisted further when Alicia's the answer to who falsely believes they are smart. This wasn't a fun challenge for Alicia. But as we're about to see, she's far from the last person to take a majority of the hits in this challenge. I just love Alicia's salty reactions here. While everyone else lets their negative answers roll off their back, Jenna even emphatically agrees when everyone says that she never shuts up, Alicia's so angry and pretty much spends the rest of the episode complaining about it. My favorite moment is when Jenna tries to console her and is quickly rebuked.
No, you don't want somebody to talk to you.
Jenna, what part of Alicia's personality would make you think she's into hugs? At number 4 is James's dad's increasing irritation with Touchy Subjects in a special family visit edition of this challenge in Survivor Micronesia. This version of Touchy Subjects plays out much the same as usual, but the family members of the survivors are here to watch their loved ones get dragged through the mud this time. And no one has a bigger reaction to the negative answers than James's dad, James Sr. Things start off well enough for James. The first question of the challenge is, who does the most for the tribe? And James, ever humble, is the unanimous pick of everyone except for him. You see the pride in Papa James's eyes as James's fellow survivors acknowledge just how valuable he is to them. This will be the last time he smiles at this challenge. Unfortunately, James is then on the receiving end of one of the weirder questions they've ever posed in this challenge. Who are you least likely to invite to a family dinner? Which does not please the elder James.
What's up with that?
Of course, he's missing some crucial context, given that just one episode prior, we basically had Survivor family dinner at the auction. And everyone watched in horror as James just went to town on some bat soup. Oh, this is cool, but Eric paying to lick cake off of Surie's fingers is weird. James Sr. especially doesn't approve when Alexis takes the final chop on James's rope, eliminating his son from the challenge for good.
Until I get back home, I'm talking about her.
James's dad was such a star in his brief time at the family visit, he even gets a little shout out at the reunion, where, I can only presume, he was still fuming about Alexis. Perhaps the only time anyone felt any strong emotion about Alexis's time on Survivor, ever. At number 3 is Stacey's no good, very bad time in the Survivor Fiji edition of this challenge. Another player who gets it pretty rough. although still not as bad as one other player who we'll see soon. So the first question is a pretty easy one. Who would you trust with your life? Cassandra, Boo, and Yao Man all get it right, and Cassandra's up first to eliminate a player. This time they swapped out the rope chopping for tower smashing, and Cassandra smashes Stacey's first tower. Then Boo and Yao Man follow, smashing Stacey's second and third tower before anyone else takes a hit. Stacey's forced to enjoy the rest of this challenge from the bench, where she learns that she's the survivor who's wasted this opportunity the most, as well as the survivor everyone would least like to see again. Wow, they weren't messing around this season, were they? Stacey's reaction to learning all this information always kills me. She gives the best disapproving eye rolls this side of Tyrone. Stacey's one of my favorite minor characters in Survivor history. She legitimately changed the game by inventing the vote off the person least likely to play an idol strategy, was the first person ever to be idled out, and every single look she gives or word she says the entire season is absolutely dripping in condescension. For example, here's Stacey telling Alex in Dreams how to use a French press when asked.
You put the coffee in the bottom, you pour the boiling water on top, and you let it sit for about 3 minutes, and then you press it down, and then you have coffee. Simple as that.
God, can you imagine assembling IKEA furniture with her? According to post-game interviews, Stacey took all the touchy subjects' criticisms to heart and actually used it to turn her social game around. And I think there's a decent chance that if Yao Man doesn't play his idol at Final 6 and take her out, she gets to the end and wins opposite Dreams and Cassandra. Still, I'm sure learning basically the entire tribe dislikes you greatly wasn't exactly super fun for Stacey to hear. Nothing would heal a bruised ego more than getting chosen to go on the yacht reward, though. You're gonna take me, right, Cassandra? At number 2 is a pair of answers from Matthew in Survivor Amazon's rendition of Touchy Subjects. One showing quite a bit of self-awareness, and one showing quite a bit of delusion. Before we begin, though, I should note that this was the first time this challenge was ever used, and the only time it was used for immunity instead of reward. Combine that with Amazon being Survivor's corniest season, and we have questions like, who would you most like to see pose nude in a magazine, having potentially million-dollar answers. The first of Matthew's 2 amazing answers is when the tribe is asked who needs therapy the most, and he, along with most everyone else, answers himself, then laughs about how it's well known around camp that he's completely crazy. Well, at least he acknowledges that constantly sharpening the machete for hours at a time with a dead-eyed stare on your face is not a normal person thing to do. And neither is specifically promising not to butcher them.
I promise I won't harm anyone.
Yeah, just a normal, non-murdery thing to say. My favorite Matt answer, though, is when they're asked, who do you have a crush on? Could it be the objectively gorgeous woman who we've already established as the individual the tribe most wants to see naked? Let's tally those votes. Heidi, 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 Heidi. Matthew! Now I realize this is possibly an incredibly brazen attempt from Matthew at throwing a challenge. Although he told Rob he was going to start throwing challenges a few episodes ago, and then promptly didn't follow through with that then, so why start now? Still, I choose to believe Matthew took an inventory of the tribe, 4 straight men and 3 straight women, and decided that he was the most crushed on. We should all be so aspirational. The most hilarious Touchy Subjects moment is Courtney being the answer to almost every negative question in Survivor Exile Island. Kasaya answering negative questions about each other? Yeah, it's gonna be good. The Majority Alliance seems relatively on the same page at first, quickly eliminating both Terry and Bruce in the chopping portion of the challenge. But as the questions get more personal, the emotions get high and quick. Poor Courtney takes what is easily the biggest bruising in Touchy Subjects history as the tribal consensus answer for most annoying, the one who never shuts up, the one who succumbs to intimidation most easily, and the biggest poser. Poor Courtney even accidentally gives Probst a layup.
Who is the biggest poser? Somebody's feelings about to get hurt.
What is a poser?
Reveal. The answer to what is a poser is you.
Her? A poser? No way. Maybe the only thing funnier than Courtney getting absolutely completely destroyed in this challenge is Cerie's reaction to Courtney absolutely getting completely destroyed. Her laughter getting more and more infectious with each passing negative answer about Courtney, so much so that she's still laughing about Courtney hours later on the reward, with Cerie, Aris, and Danielle off at reward, Terry on Exile Island, and Bruce medically evacuated overnight, and emotionally pained Courtney stuck alone back at camp with only Shane to commiserate with, who lends a very sympathetic ear and supportive words of encouragement.
I'll drive up and I'll kill you in your little apartment, and I'll drive over to my club, and that'll be it.
I don't have a apartment.
Well, obviously, dude. I've never been in your apartment. I don't know if it's or not. It was an adjective.
Wait, how is this supposed to make me feel better again? Got nothing else for ya. To make me as self-confident as Matthew, like and subscribe, and I'll get you more Survivor content just like this. Until next time, don't get idled out.